Welcome to my craft table. Hi, this is Jamie Magridge. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'd like to show you how I made this Halloween card. It's a easy card, but it takes a lot of different stamp sets because it's just little bits from different stamp sets. But it's really very easy, and it's got a little bit of embossing on it. See the silver embossing there? Okay, well, let's get started. Okay, so what you're going to need, paper-wise, I have a piece of the Whisper White, which is 2 5/8 by 4 1/8, a piece of black, which is 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Those two will layer together. This one will stamp on. This is a piece of the Bird Ballad Designer Series paper, and this is 4 by 5 1/4. And I have another piece of black, which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I could have probably cut this out of there, maybe used just one of my rectangle dies, but I didn't think about that. And then this is the silver foil edge note cards. There's a note card and envelope. And that's going to be our card base. So we'll have just a little bit of a silver edge that hangs out around the edge of that. Okay, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and attach this and the Designer Series paper to the front of our card base. Well, let's fold it first. Oh, we're also going to be using Poppy Parade, Pumpkin Pie, Pineapple Punch, Blueberry Bushel, Memento, and Versamark, silver embossing powder, a 2 1/4 inch circle punch, or a die of your choice. The stamps I'm using, the Hello from Darling Label Punch Box. I'm using this bird from Botanical Bliss. I'm using this leaf here from Rooted in Nature. And this branch from Colorful Seasons. I told you it's a lot of stamp sets. Just one little piece from here and one little piece from there, but it's a fun card. It's kind of a fall, harvesty looking card. So let's get started anyway. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue this black layer to the front of our card base. This glue is almost empty. I think that's probably all I'm going to get out of it. There we go. Oh, and you're also going to need a piece of Post-it note or some sort of masking paper. I'm just using a Post-it note for this one. Works just as easy. Sure that's centered. It's just a 1/16 of an inch border around the edge. Okay, then this one's going to get centered on the top of that. This one, it didn't really matter which direction I cut it. Little bird feet, so the first one I did had it going up and down. This one is sideways, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, we're going to put those pieces aside for now. I'm going to bring in this piece, bring in this, and I'm going to bring in a Post-it note. It's this size of a Post-it note. Bring in my punch. I'm going to put this Post-it note in this direction into the punch. Put it in as far as it'll go and center it up in there. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered. It's a little bit closer to the sticky edge. Okay, punch it. We're going to be using both pieces. Now if your circle doesn't have any sticky on it, this one has a little tiny bit, then just take your Tombow. That one's empty. Just toss it out and put a little tiny bit of glue on the back. Rub it really thin and let it dry. That'll make it like a Post-it note, the sticky on it. Okay, so we're going to start, I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to start with this piece. I'm going to center it up on here, making just kind of line up the top of this Post-it note to the top of your paper, and this edge to this edge of the paper, so or close as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Oops. You do want to cover up the whole paper because you don't want any bleed through. Oh, that's too close to that edge. Let's move it over a little bit more. I did make this a little bit smaller on this one because I wanted to I didn't want to waste a bunch of the black paper, so this layer is a little bit smaller than on that one. So I probably could have used a 2-inch circle instead of the 2 1/4. That's alright. So we're going to start with sponging. We'll bring in our pineapple punch. Okay, that doesn't work so well for me, I don't know why. And we're going to sponge around this circle, pretty much the whole thing. And I have it on my silicone craft sheet because it'll be easy to clean up. You want to try and keep it light in this center area here. Having it yellow is fine, but okay. A little bit more here. Alright. Now we're going to bring in the pumpkin pie. And these are just the Stampin' sponges. I've cut them into, I think I cut them into 8 pieces. And then I have a binder clip clipped on them. Okay, and this is the pumpkin pie. So we're going to do darker around this side here. And this bottom section we want to keep light. We want a little bit of the pumpkin pie there, but not much. Whoops. It's like a harvest moon. Oh, it's getting splotchy, but well, just keep inking. To avoid that, it's best if you can dab it off a little bit. I might have used blending brushes for that one, I don't remember. A circular motion to try and get that smooth there in the center. Okay. And I'm going to come in with the Poppy Parade, and I'm going to do a little bit around the edge. Not a lot, just a very little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to come back in with that yellow and see if I can blend that all out together. It's a little bit blotchy, this one, but alright. Oh, that helps. Blend it all back in. Okay, not bad. Not bad. Okay, so we're done with these. Just see if I can blend this out just a little bit more there. It's not quite as harsh. There we go, that's softer. Sometimes you just have to add a little bit more. Alright. Now we're going to take this one off. That reveals our moon. We're going to bring in the circle that we did. Make sure that's dry. We're going to cover over the moon. Okay, and then we're going to bring in our blueberry bushel. Put these other ones right out of the way so we're done with them. Am I in frame? I hope I'm in frame. I'm down a little bit low. There we go. Okay, so we're going to ink this around the edges. And you want to keep it dark around the edge and a little bit lighter, just a touch around the moon. I'm actually going to take this off of here because I want to squeeze it a little bit tighter, and it's easier when it's not in the clip. There we go, that's better. Turn my whole thing, it's just easier. And I'm holding it on top of there because otherwise you're going to get either a fingerprint on your thing or inky fingers. So start on the edge, work towards the moon. Just keep blending it till you get a smooth blend. If it's not perfect, that's fine because we're going to be stamping over the top of it. But okay. Alright, let's remove the mask. Oh dear. Well, that didn't work so well. Must not have been dry. Tore the paper there. So I will be right back. I'm going to go ahead and redo this and I'll meet back with you. Okay, we're back to this point again. This time, instead of using my silicone craft sheet, I used a piece of printer paper, and it was a little bit easier to blend with. I don't know why. That's much better. Okay, that's what it's supposed to do. So make sure your glue's really dry, and you might want to tacky some of it off before you put it on there. Or make sure it has some of the sticky from the Post-it note on it. Okay, now we're going to stamp. Alright, let's bring in this. And we're going to start with the bird, or with the branch. Then we'll put the bird on it. And we're going to use the Memento ink. And we want this branch to be going into the moon a little bit. Let's see, about there I guess. Okay. That's how we're doing for that one. Now we're going to, let's go ahead and do the bird next. Make sure you get a really good coverage because this is a solid image. I'm just going to kind of guess where those feet are. Yep, they're a little off, but that's all right. We'll hide it. And then we're going to bring in this one here. And we're going to stamp leaves. All the way around the bottom. All the way around the edges. Turn it just a little bit so it looks a little bit different. Fill in a couple spots. And we're going to not do as much around the bird here, just a little bit. And I think I want to put one more there where those feet are. Okay. That's it for the black. Okay, I'm going to bring in my heat tool and dry this, because the next step, you do not want your ink to be sticking where you don't want it. So I'm going to put it on the first setting, and I'm going to dry, make sure it's good and dry. Alright, and I'm going to bring in my embossing buddy. Give it all a really good coating so that I know my embossing powder is not going to stick where I don't want it. Okay, oops, excuse me. I need to clean off my leaf's image. Okay, might as well clean these while I got it out here. Alright, now we're going to stamp one of these leaves here, one of them over here, and one of them up here, and then we'll do the sentiment at the bottom. And we're going to be using Versamark ink for that, and it's really hard to see, so stamp one over here. Coming in over here. And then this one over here. Okay. And then the sentiment will go down here at the bottom. I just will do that all at the same time. Okay, I know you can't see that embossing ink, just the shine of it. I'll bring in my coffee filter, and where'd my embossing powder go? Here's the embossing powder. Sprinkle it over it generously. The remaining back in. Got the edges. I'm going to put this out of the way. Don't spill it. Bring in my board. Alright, and this time I'm going to put the tool on too. I'm going to heat it up. changing. There it goes. Excuse me. Okay, now we're gonna just layer it up and then finish up the card. Let's layer this onto this black piece. What did I do with my combo? Okay, this piece will get dimensionals on the back of it. Use the little bits of my ends here, edge. This would be a good one to use those black dimensionals on that are in the new holiday catalog. I forgot to order them. Well, I sort of forgot. I ran out of funds. Center so it doesn't sag. Alright. Always feels good when you kill a sheet of dimensionals. I don't know why. Taking these backs off. Okay, now I'm going to bring in my card base. Center it up in the center. There we go. There's our card for today. It's the one we just made together. Here's the one I made previous. I might have added a little, might have used Night of Navy or added a little bit of black around the edge to darken it a little, but I like this color better actually. It's more vivid. Well, thanks for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day.